Boys, gamers, gals, my non-binary pals, welcome to the Master Duel Post-Banlist tier list. We're going to be going through every single deck that I could give a single heck about. The new Master Duel ban list was dropped recently, so we're going to get started. First deck we're going to look at is B Trooper. B Trooper I think is good. It gets to search Max C, it gets to play Retaliating C. It's really good versus Fateful Adventure. I think overall it's a pretty good deck. I would not be calling this an actually good deck. It's got a lot of problems. It itself loses to Max C. It can't fit a great number of hand traps, and it's just really got a lackluster end board that a lot of other decks kind of get to do for free. So overall, I'm going to put it in the Rogue category. I think it's definitely very, very playable, but I don't think it's, you know, amazing. Next deck, Zodiac. Zodiac Pure, Adventure Zodiac, doesn't really matter. Does this deck have a Zodiac monster in it? And if it does, it's probably going to be tier 1. Zodiac just is forever the one card engine. We go into Trident, and then we have 4 cards to play around with. I hate Zoo, but it's so good. And it will remain good until the end of time or Dragon gets banned. Next deck, Despia. Despia right now sucks. Like, do not feel bad calling this deck bad. Only thing that this deck does right now is basically end on like double Tax Dragon, and Tax Dragon is pretty bad if you're not ending on exactly 2 of them. It's got like decent matchups here and there, and it's got like pretty decent follow-up, but a lot of decks have decent follow-up, and they're a lot better than Despia. It's probably like the bottom of Rogue. It's definitely playable. It's not bad, but wait until Branded Fusion comes out before you craft your shitty little fusions. Next card, Adamantipator. Adamantipator is really funny. It's probably the worst combo deck. Ideally, it should be a good combo deck. It's got like Union Carrier, it's got Buster Lock, it's got everything your combo deck could ever want. The biggest problem with Adamantipator is it's inconsistent. One of the biggest problems that Adamantipator has is that you need to open certain combinations of cards, and unless you're like really, really lucky, those one card, just like a normal summon analyzer effect, like get Guardian, like win the game, those are pretty few and far in between. And everyone who's ever actually played Adamantipator knows that like you kind of need like 2 or 3 names plus the access to Block Dragon to really go off. So I think Adamantipator is definitely a good combo deck, but I don't think it's the best anymore. So I'm gonna put it at the top of tier 2. Next deck, Heroes. Heroes is really, really funny. OTK decks have always had a place with it. Master Duel, just take a look at Numeron or like 8-Axis or like all that garbage. Hero is definitely the weakest OTK and combo deck out there. It is definitely got some stuff going for it. It's got the ability to make DP, it's got the ability to make Dark Law, it's got Plasma Lines, but unfortunately, I don't think those are enough to really facilitate an entire archetype, if you know what I mean. Plus, it's got really, really bad resource generation. Like, if your hero board gets broken turn 1 or turn 2, or like you're not able to OTK, you basically just kind of lose on the spot. So I'm gonna put this in the bottom. I'm gonna put this in the bottom of Rogue as well. It's not a bad deck, but it's not a good deck either. Dragon Link is good. Who would have guessed? It's a really hard deck to play. It is very, very, very hard, which is why you don't see a lot of it on the ladder. It is very, very powerful. It just requires a really intense skill ceiling where people are just like, nah, fuck that. I'm just going to play my silly little Halcyon piles instead, which is why this deck isn't super represented, but it's definitely a really, really good deck. I feel confident putting this in tier 1. It's just extremely solid. Whether you want to play Adventure or just pure Dragons, it's solid. Next deck, Madolche. I think this deck is really funny. It's not that good. Madolche just kind of got like a weird problem where it just doesn't do enough. You know, you basically end on like 1 Imprim Pass plus like some protection, which is not difficult at all to break through. Plus, going second, sure, you have a Queen Tiramisu as an amazing board breaker. Problem with that, if your only board breaker is, you know, the most telegraphed card of all time, maybe the deck isn't that good. It was a lot better in older formats just because people didn't really have great responses to it, but right now, not that good. Sorry, Poffle. It's bad. I'm sorry, Pavel. This deck is bad. Phantom Knight. This deck lost and gained some stuff. It lost its ability to make Rongo Bongo because the Gossip Shadow was banned. So that means you cannot get the free 3 materials for it in order to just completely lock out your opponent and give them a heart attack on the spot. A fun thing about Rongo Bongo or Phantom Knight is that it's still a stupid ass combo deck. It's Phantom Knight, chat. We all know what the fuck this deck does. You go Artifact, Scythe, DPE, double set Fogblade, and then you give your opponent an Aneurysm. So overall, Phantom Knight's probably pretty good. I feel confident putting this at like tier 1. It's good. It's good. There's no reason to call this deck bad. It's just good. Fuck this deck. I hate Phantom Knight. I hate Scythe. I hate everything about it. Thunder Dragon, weirdly bad. One of the main problems with Thunder Dragon is that you don't have the ability to make multiple Colossuses. This isn't a problem in other combo decks like Hawkdawn, or decks that are something like the Nemesis shit in order to make it, or like Mutant. But one of the big problems with Thunder Dragon Pure is that most of its power kind of relied on making multiple Colossuses that there's couldn't be outed, backed up by a Titan. And when you only have one Colossus, it doesn't really become that hard to break the Raigeki Break Pass deck. I'm gonna put this in Rogue. It's not good. Unfortunately, it's just not that good. At Imposters! Somebody at Samuel, because we are in the vents. Chat, spam Among Us. At Ignister is pretty cool. It's a really neat deck. It does a lot of cool stuff. Big problem. It ends on 1 negate. It ends on a big towers and 1 negate that could be pretty easily outed. I'm gonna put it in the Rogue tier. Next up, Prank Kids! Prank Kids Adventure. Holy shit, this deck is so good. Holy shit, this deck is so good. Even though you lost Meow Meow Moo, it doesn't matter. It just straight up does not matter. The Adventure line is so good, plus the DPE that people are allowed to play, plus the Maxi. Adventure Prank Kids is just unbeatable. It is actually so broken. This shit, literally, unless Meow Meow Moo is banned, this deck will remain tier 1. Dinosaur! Rogue. I like Dinosaur. It's a cool deck. Shout out to the Hasher. But it's so bricky. One of the main problems about Dinosaur is that unless you're opening exactly Overraptor plus Misk plus something to pop with the Overraptor, your hand is kind of shit. You need like 2 or 3 card combos in order to really get your gears going. And even though Misk does protect you, if you don't open the Misk, you're kind of fucked. So yeah, additional hits to Prosperity also make this deck a lot worse. So yeah, unfortunate. Numeron OTK. I'm not gonna lie, this shit is tier 1. This shit is so irresponsibly broken. Numeron isn't like a good deck in the sense where in a vacuum it is an extremely powerful combo deck. It is good in the sense where it is a high win rate deck that you can basically spam onto a ladder until you hit Diamond 1. If you guys don't really know what I mean, take a look at the swath of bots that are playing Numeron that just kind of OTK you out of nowhere and just like grind gems, grind dailies for people. It's absolutely absurd. And Numeron is without a doubt the best deck to just slam thousands of games out in an extremely short period of time. It is so broken. It is so good for gem farming. It's just absolutely insane. The same can honestly be said for Rank A Turbo. Rank A Turbo, Lunalight Kaiju, whatever you want to call it. Holy shit, I hate this deck. It is literally just the same thing as Numeron, except just like marginally different. It could do like a little bit more plays, like it can make Baron with like the Rev Time Emitter card, but otherwise this deck does give me a headache and I hate it. I hate this card, I hate this deck so much. Loses to a single Imperm though, so keep that in mind. Drytron! It's bad. It is so bad. Madolche is even better than that shit. Drytron losing the 2 Ben 10s honestly made this deck like absolutely horrible. You lose so much harder to hand traps and interruption now. Plus, you have so many more choke points in Diviner, in the rank 1. Oh my god, Drytron is just so bad. Do not play it. Salamangreat. It's fine. It's just salad. It's so normal. It's so plain. If you want to play an OTK deck that's not Numeron, you play Salamangreat because this deck literally just makes access code and pass and nothing else. The main problem with Salamangreat wasn't that like its consistency. The deck was basically playing like 10 copies of Gazelle. The main problem with Salamangreat was like the issue that it had a very weak end board. Like it just had a weak end board. It couldn't do anything else. Next deck, you've got Grass, Shadal, Witchcrafter piles, anything deck that's basically playing like 60 cards and a bunch of bullshit. Tier 2. Grass decks are always just extremely goofy. They're not consistent enough by any stretch of the imagination to be put in tier 1, but they've definitely got a lot going for them, and their explosive power ceiling is just so incredibly high. Like, my god, grass decks are just so frustrating to play against at times. I wouldn't call it like a good climbing deck just because games take a lot of time, but it's definitely like, if you want to look at a deck's power in a vacuum, this deck is definitely it. Invoked. This deck is bad. Don't at me, chat. Invoked is basically Zodiac, but like a billion times worse. There are, of course, like Invoked like Dogmatica variants, but the problem is like Dogmatica is just so much better in like grass pile decks. The problem is like Invoked is just so weak. It just doesn't do enough. You see Invoked sometimes in like grass pile decks, but that's more just because it has like a decent synergy with like Shadals that you're milling. and that sort of scenarios that I just think Invoked is not good, so don't play it. Tri-Brigade variants, I'm going to put in tier 1. Again, Tri-Brigade just kind of proves to be really consistent. It's not like a bad deck. It's still definitely playable. It's definitely fallen off just because of the amount of stupid bullshit that we've had in the past couple of months. The adventure stuff really is treading on its territory. Unfortunately, just like mid-range stuff isn't as good, but definitely Tri-Brigade plus Tri-Brigade variants is extremely good. So I would not feel scared trying to pick up this deck and learn it. If you want to learn a powerful mid-range deck, this is definitely it. Ultrageist sucks. It's so bad. Trap decks are not good. Don't play trap decks. If you want to play a trap deck, play like Trap Tricks. Blue Eyes. I think that Blue Eyes is really terrible. It is probably the worst deck in the format. I think it is unironically the worst deck on this list. Blunder. Flunder, Mr. Blunder. As much as I hate to put it, it's probably one of the best decks in this game. I hate Flunder. I think it's so cringe. I think it's boring to play with and against. Fuck Flunder, dude. Flunder is so cringe. 1-card starters, dumb hand traps, resilience to max C, able to play Dimension Shifter, able to play extreme consistency cards, doesn't have to worry about games 2 or 3. Absolutely broken. Fuck this deck. I hate it. Endymion! I'm gonna put this in tier 2. I think that Endymion is pretty good. I think it's just a very hard deck to pilot. I think that just not a lot of people are experienced enough with it, but it's definitely got a lot of combo potential. It's not like broken or anything, but it's definitely a deck that can very easily carry you to Diamond 1, and you just have a lot of great matchups across the board. Like, you don't particularly like hard to lose to anything except Flunder. Maybe that deck or Zoo. Okay, you lose to a lot of stuff, but like, trust me, guys. Copium, it's good. It's good. Trust me, chat. Dark Magician is better than Ultrageist. I am not kidding. One of the really funny things that Dark Magician could do is play Skill Drain, so that's why it's better. Obviously, Skill Drain from 3 to 2 makes the deck a lot worse, but still good in a relative context versus Ultrageist. Eternal Soul is funny. No Dragoon really does suck, but Skill Drain could honestly just carry a deck from fucking bad to rogue, if I'm being completely honest. Next up, Earth Machine. It is Rogue. Earth Machine is basically just like Salamangreat, except like more boring. Earth Machine is basically like prank kids on a budget, you know what I mean? It just does so little. Like, everyone wishes that like Earth Machine could like do stuff, but like, it's so bad. One of the biggest problems with like Earth Machine is that like, even though it has a really insane resource loop, any deck that basically can play through like a worse prank kids board can play through Earth Machine. So because of that, it's pretty good, but not that good. So Rogue, there it goes. Cyber Dragon is probably tied with Madolche for like the top of Rogue. It's got a lot of funny stuff that you could do in regards to like Verte, send like Overload Fusion. That's like definitely a really powerful OTK line alongside like Zeger. But again, Cyber Dragon is basically just a bad combo deck and a bad OTK deck. Like, even Hero is better than that shit because it actually like ends on a real board. Oh my gosh, Orchist is so mid. Orchist is so average, dog. This deck is so okay. I have no words to describe it. It's just fine. You have Ascend, you have like an IP, maybe you end on a window, but like, holy shit, this deck is so bad. Eldritch! It's good. Who would have guessed? Silly little floodgate decks playing their silly little floodgates. Losing Imperial Order and a Skill Drain hurts like a little bit, plus you only have 1 Conquistador, but you're still playing a Floodgate deck. You play Rivalry and Gozen, and you give your opponent an aneurysm. Congratulations, I hate this game. Live Twin. I might be on Cope. I think this deck is pretty good. Obviously, just like the Trouble Sunny line is amazing, but the fact that they're able to fit in so many hand traps, and not to mention so many other engines, makes this deck absolutely so frustrating to play against at times, that it really does feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. Plus the Bagushka line that you're able to do with like a Parallel Exceed is honestly kind of crazy. Sword Soul Tenyi. Broken. Make whatever Synchro 8s and 10s you want. Make whatever Among Us imposters you want. Who fucking cares, bro? It's Sword Soul. Draw your cards, make a Protos, make a Halcdon if you want. Fuck it, bro. Cengiz Supreme, my king. Adventure Tenyi Halcdon. Oh my god, I fucking hate this deck. I hate this deck and everything it stands for. I fucking hate this deck. This deck actually makes me like annoyed. Like, I actually become like worse of a person every time I go against this deck. It's extremely frustrating. It's not fun, and it's just basically the equivalent of Yu-Gi-Oh's Better Have It. It's just fuck this deck. I just hate this deck so much. Virtual World. If VFD was still legal, top tier, baby. Currently, bottom tier, baby. This deck is no longer that good. One of the main problems with Virtual World was that so much of its power was just kind of reliant on summoning VFD. We saw this in the TCG, where as soon as VFD got banned, this deck went from being the best deck of the format to the worst deck of the format. Like, you could still definitely cope with like Shen Shen, you can make like Kaliga plus Crystal Wing. That's not enough. And one of the other things is that Virtual World is super duper biggie, so that's not helping. Sky Striker. Is this deck good? I'm not actually sure. Is Striker good? It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. If there was like a place between Rogue and Tier 2, Striker would be there. But it's definitely like a little bit up. It's a little bit higher. Again, like Striker's just like missing an engage, it's missing Kagaris, it's missing cards. It's just missing too much. The deck is poopy. It's just like fine. There's just like nothing interesting Striker does. It's like better. Oh, that's Kaija Coliseum. Okay, yeah, that's enough to put it in Tier 2. Okay, yeah, never mind. It's got Kaija Coliseum. Put that shit in Tier 2 immediately. Finally, we have a DDD. This deck used to be DD dog shit. Now, I'd say it's pretty good. I like DDD. It's a cool deck. Got a lot of cool interactions. It went from being like the world's worst, most overly complicated combo deck to like a control deck, and I think that's so cool. Like, you basically just end on like Siegfried, Machinex, and like Headhunt, and that's like so cool. It's cool. It's consistent. Ish. By no means it is actually consistent, but it's like a whole lot more consistent than it used to be. Isn't DD's Edward still a Nib token? Hey, shut the fuck up. We can't let people know this. I have to tell people that this deck is good so that they play it on ladder, and then I Nibiru them and I win the game. And yeah, that's what I think the best decks of the format are. The overall tier list, the overall gamer game list. Tier 1, Tier 2, Rogue, whatever. If you guys want to catch me doing these sort of events and recording videos live on stream, be sure to check me out at twitch.tv/StevieBlunder. Going for that partner push. Hopefully they will invite me to TwitchCon and I can meet Barack Hussein Obama there. But yeah, thank you so much. See you.